Alright guys, so today we are going to be doing CHING number 90. We are keep creeping up there. Okay, so the first thing that I have was actually a Winnie the Pooh set by Royal Doulton. This was like a Christmas ceramic figure of like a Christmas tree, and then the characters were kind of surrounding the tree, like, you know, putting up ornaments. Eric and I won this at an auction. And I know there are some people I know who get a little upset that I don't always say the prices that I pay for stuff. I always say prices when I do my haul videos, but some of my items might sit for like months before they sell. So by the time I do my cha-ching, it's not really refreshed in my mind exactly what I paid for something, but it's always profit. So anyway, that sold for $119.99. And if I were to guess off the top of my head, it would have been $30 or under. We probably paid for that. Next item we have is an LG dual screen. This was for a cell phone. Eric found this at a yard sale. I'm pretty sure he paid about $5 for it. And that sold for $64.99. Next item was a set of two really large ANNALEE Easter figures. These things were big. It was a kind of like matching set. I got these at a yard sale quite a few years ago, I feel like it's been. They did take a while to sell. I don't always pick up the ANNALEE figures when I see them, but these stood out to me because they were just larger than ones that I typically see. That's why I picked them up. I'd say I paid $10 a piece for those, so $20 altogether, and those sold for $59.99. Next, I have a pair of Birkenstock sandals. Typically, I've been finding these at fill-a-bag rummage sales as well as yard sales. So I'd say maybe $5 tops into these, and those sold for $39.99. I sold another Winnie the Pooh item. This one was for a set of two. These are called brown bag cookie art molds. Some of these can sell pretty decently. These here sold for $49.99, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. Next we have a wooden clock. This was a moon phase clock by a company called Hermel, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It was German made. I won this at an auction. I'd say I paid maybe $5–6 for it, and that sold for $49.99. I'm pretty sure that actually also went out of the country. I sold a Joseph Ribkoff dress. This did come from a thrift store, I'm pretty certain. I used to pick up Joseph Ribkoff a lot, quite a few years ago. I just don't feel like I was getting decent prices for some of the stuff that I was finding, but then it just kind of tapered off and died for me. So if I come across it again, I don't know if I'd pick it up or not. This dress sold for $19.99. Like I said, it came from a thrift store. I'd say I paid $5 or less for it. Next we have a JARRETT shirt that sold for $14.99. That came probably from a yard sale, so I'd say we had $1 into that. The next two items went to Jackie. This here was an enamel Santa Claus teapot by a company called Rothschild. I had won this at an auction. I'd say I paid maybe $1 or $2 for it, and that sold for $29.99. And she also purchased two little wicker chair doll chairs, or you could use them as plant stands. I know a lot of people use those little wicker chairs for like little succulent plants and stuff like that. Those sold for $22.99, and I'm pretty sure those came on a tray of some stuff I won at an auction. Next we have, actually they probably came from, I went to a doll auction at one point, and you're gonna see some of these dolls in this cha-ching specifically, but guys, I have so many dolls still to list. It's insane. Sometimes like I'll go into my garage because that's where I keep all of the inventory that comes into the house before I get it listed, and it's all in totes, like stacked up. Like when I come home from a yard sale or whatever, Eric and I, we place it in a tote, and then once we're ready to list stuff, we take from one tote, get it all listed, take from another tote, get it all listed, that kind of thing, just to kind of stay a little bit like on track. So when I get to those totes, I'm just probably going to be so like, I can't believe I have this stuff to list. Anyway, so that brings us into the next items. This was a Mary Hoyer doll dress that had teapots all over it. I won this at the doll auction. There was a tray full of these Mary Hoyer dresses, and Mary Hoyer was like a doll maker. I have a lot of Mary Hoyer dolls to list, so if you're into dolls and that kind of thing, definitely keep an eye out on my auctions because I have a ton of Mary Hoyers. So anyway, these dresses were on a tray, and she was auctioning them off by the piece, and I won them for $4 a piece I paid. So I paid $4 for this dress, and it sold for $34. So there are a lot of Mary Hoyer collectors out there for sure. Next item we have is a vintage perfume called Forever Crystal. Got this at an estate sale. I paid $1. I had gotten quite a few bottles of this Forever Crystal perfume in like different sizes and all that kind of stuff. So I do still have some listed. That sold for $39.99. Next item also went to Jackie. This was another doll that came from the doll auction. This one was a Vogue Ginny doll. She was a hula Hawaiian girl, and she was made specifically for a certain doll expo. So, you know, it wasn't one I think you could just get anywhere type of thing. And she sold for $62. And I'd say I paid $20 or less for her. Next item we have is an Estee Lauder Resilience Face and Neck Cream that sold for $16.99, and I'm pretty sure that came from a yard sale where I had purchased like kind of like an Estee Lauder large makeup case, and it had a bunch of Estee Lauder stuff in it. It had eye makeup remover and all sorts of stuff. I paid I think $2 for it, and I've been listing stuff from that case. Next item we have is a Boyd's Faith Angel that sold for $26.99. I feel like that came from a box lot that I won at an auction. I sold another doll. This one was a Vogue mini Ginny doll in like this really cute alphabet dress. She sold for $59.99, and again, I probably paid $20 or less for her. I sold a Department 56 Crinkles ornament of a pumpkin witch. Hopefully, like, I still have so many Department 56 Halloween ornaments listed. I sold a lot last year, so I'm hoping more go out this year. They have been selling all year long though. This one sold for $25.99, and if you're new to my channel, I once bought like a bunch of Halloween ornaments from a store. It was like a store buyout type of thing that someone previously bought out a store, and then I bought what they bought kind of thing. Next we have an Avon NutriBoost nail polish. This was for a set of 2. Those sold for $12.99. Again, came from an auction. I was winning trays of Avon stuff for like $1, and I pretty consistently sell Avon stuff. Next we have a vintage Eisenberg rhinestone bow brooch. This sold for $29.99, and I'm pretty sure I paid $5 for that at a yard sale, but I thought it was absolutely beautiful, so I picked it up. Next item did go to a subscriber named Kelly. This was for a really old book from 1904. It was called Fortune Telling by Cards, Dice. And I think it was something else, but I don't remember. Anyway, this came from an auction. It was on a stack of books that I won at an auction, and I sold some other books from that same stack, and I say I paid maybe $5 for the stack of books, and that book specifically sold for $22. Next item was a J. Crew pink button-up shirt. Oh gosh, guys, I had this forever, absolutely forever. It took so long to sell. I don't know, maybe it was the size, it was a smaller size, but it just makes me never want to touch J. Crew again, even though I thought that was a really good brand, so I don't know. Anyway, it sold for $5, and I'm just thankful it's out of my house. Alright, so the next 3-4 items all went to the same person, not a subscriber. I'm fairly certain this was not a subscriber. Someone who collects Mary Hoyer items. She purchased all of the rest of my Mary Hoyer dresses. The first one was a blue floral dress that sold for $33. And keep in mind, as I stated, I paid $4 a piece for these dresses. The next one was a blue and green belted dress that sold for $56. $4 dress. Next was a red trim floral dress that sold for $49. And then the last one was a red tartan plaid dress with matching like little beret hat that also sold for $49. So that was a great investment in doll dresses, and I'm crossing my fingers that my Mary Hoyer dolls, which are fully clothed, sell for really good money as well. Next two items also went to the same person. Again, I'm like 100% certain, not a subscriber, just someone who collects Orioles pins. At one point, Eric had purchased a tray lot of Orioles pins and things like that. He didn't pay much for it at all. I say he paid $5 for the tray, and he figured he could sell the pins for, you know, more than $5 a piece, and he has been selling them. So this one here is an Orioles Camden Yards pin that sold for $9.99. And then they also purchased an Orioles Inner Harbor pin, again, that also sold for $9.99. Next we have a miniature bottle vintage perfume called Taboo that sold for $9.99 as well. Again, came from an auction. At one point I won like a bunch of miniature perfumes. I think I paid $20 some for all of them together, and I made my money back on those fairly quickly, and I still have a decent amount of those to list. Let's see, the next three items also went to Jackie. She was really shopping during these weeks of this specific cha-ching. So the first thing that she bought in this set was a Laurel Birch cat lamp. Eric and I got this at a church sale. I'm pretty sure we paid $3 or $5 for it, and that sold for $51. Absolutely beautiful. I love that lamp. Next was a Schwartz Brothers tissue box, so just like a vintage plastic tissue box that sold for $12.99. That came from an auction. I did pay $1 for that. And then she also purchased a Club aluminum stock pot for $25.99. That also came from the same church sale where I bought the Laurel Birch cat lamp, and I think I paid $4 or $5 for that as well. Next we have, I did sell one of these already. You probably saw it in another cha-ching. I had two of them. This was a vintage Pyro medical army truck, just like a little plastic toy that sold for $34.99. Do you guys remember the story of that truck? I had two of them, and I accidentally dropped this one, and a little chip came out of the rear end of it, and so I had to list it for cheaper than the other one because it was worth more than that, but I chipped it. I am so clumsy. I could have cried. Guys, let me know if you've ever done anything like that, like accidentally, you know, maim something in the process before you get it listed, or even after it's listed, or even after it's sold. Next we have a Coach Legacy Turnlock purse. This sold for $79.99. This did come from an auction. I'd say I paid $10 for it. This was a funny, this is beautiful leather Coach bag. When it comes to Coach bags, I'm more naturally drawn to the all leather ones instead of like the canvasy type of ones. So it was so funny at this auction. There were some other Coach bags, and like the signature print canvas ones were selling for more than what they were worth to resell, and then like nobody wanted the beautiful leather ones. So I don't know, but it worked out in my favor because I got it for a really good price and sold it for a really good profit. This next item was probably my biggest item in this cha-ching. This was for a Franklin Mint fire truck. This thing was huge and incredibly detailed. Still had its original box and everything. That sold for $549.99, and Eric and I won this at an auction. I say we spent about $100 on it. We were so nervous shipping that thing. It didn't go far. It went to someone who lived in the same state as us, so it didn't go far in the mail, but they were really pleased with it. It arrived and everything was fine. But that one we were like crossing our fingers and saying a prayer that it got there in like one piece, because that was a really big expensive item. Alright, so here's another Orioles pin. This was another one of the Inner Harbor pins. We had more than one. That one also sold for $9.99. I sold a plaid romper by a company called Silk Exchange for $39.99. I got this at the same church sale. I got the Laurel Birch lamp and everything like that. I think the clothes were $2 or $1. I actually have another one of these that I need to list, except it's just like a plain green color. It's not plaid. Next we have another Avon item. This is a Mark by Avon perfume in the scent Instant Vacation. That sold for $39.99. Again, came from an auction where I won a bunch of the Avon stuff, so I didn't pay much for that at all. Next we have another Winnie the Pooh item. This was a set of kids, a spoon and fork little cutlery set. I had two of these and the person purchased both sets. So all together that sold for $19.98. Here's another Avon perfume. This one was called Ever After. That sold for $8.99. Again, auction, paid like $1 or less for it. This here was a vintage inflatable Easter bunny that sold for $19.99. I'm trying to remember. I think this one came from maybe an estate sale. I'm not certain. I don't remember anymore. But I did just find another one of these at a yard sale a couple weeks ago. So I need to blow it up and make sure that it holds air. But that one sold, I think, I don't know if I said it, $19.99. So I probably paid $1 or less for it, I would say. We have a pair of 1928 porcelain rose pearl drop earrings. Those sold for $12.99. And these here, I think, came on a jewelry tray. I had one at an auction. I'd say maybe I paid $5, $6 for the tray that they were on. This next item was super interesting. I didn't know anything about it, and it's things like these where I'm always questioning, is this old or is this from Home Goods? You know, sometimes you come across stuff like that where you're really like questioning how old something is, where it originated from, and that type of thing. So this was an Indonesian Balinese rice goddess sculpture. I saw this at an auction. It was really intricately detailed, and when I picked it up, it was super heavy. So in my mind, I'm just like, I have no clue. So I did some research on it, and I found out it definitely was an older piece. and they were selling really well. So that sold for $129.99. So definitely, if you come across something, do some research first. Don't just automatically assume like, well, this looks like something from Home Goods, because a lot of times you find things that definitely look like they might be from Home Goods and they're older pieces. You know, unless there's like an actual sticker tag on them or something, it's sometimes really hard to figure it out. At least for me, it's not something I can just automatically be like, oh yes, this is like from the 1900s, you know what I mean? I have no idea. Like, that's why I'm still like, I'm learning stuff every single day that I do this. And so now I know if I ever see one of these again, it's worth $129. Oh, and I spent, I'd say I paid maybe 10 bucks for it. So other people didn't know either. That's why it's so important to do your research. This next item was, oh my god, this thing was beautiful. This was like a mother of pearl compact purse. I mean, this baby had everything. It, you know, it was a purse. There was like a lipstick holder on it. Just like all these like little doodads and compartments and things like that. That sold for $99.99. I got that at an auction. I paid, I think, $40 for it, but I just fell in love with it. At the time, I was like, I don't even care if this isn't really worth much because I loved it that much. But I did end up selling it, and it did sell for a good price. So that was just gorgeous. Anyway, next item we have is a 1988 Mad Magazine board game that sold for $18.99. This is one of my aunt's items. I still have some stuff of hers that I've been selling. Still some stuff listed that hasn't sold and that type of thing. I'm actually going to see her on Thursday, so I'm going to pay her what I owe her so far here again. I don't know when she'll give me more stuff to potentially sell for her, but when she does, you know, I'll haul it and show you guys. Next item we have is a Boyd's Bears mini piece bear that sold for $29.99, and that one I'm sure came from a yard sale for a quarter or 50 cents. I sold a lot of Cat's Meow little wooden pieces. These were all Baltimore related, a lot of Inner Harbor related pieces. Those sold for $39.99. Those came from an auction. I had won like a box full of Cat's Meows. I think I paid $5 for the box. And there was other ones in there that I sold separately that were in other cha-chings. Next we have a Betty Crocker cookbook that sold for $19.99. I probably paid about $1 for it at a yard sale. Some Betty Crocker cookbooks can sell really well. It literally all depends on pretty much the date and the printings. Because, you know, they came out with multiple printings. Sometimes you'll find a Betty Crocker cookbook and it'll say the 11th printing. So people want, you know, those first printings and that type of thing. Like the first printing will be worth more than the 11th printing and so on and so forth. Next item we have is from 2002. This was brand new, still sealed, Logitech internet chat headset. That's over $29.99. I did pick that up at Goodwill, and I'd say I paid $2.99 for it. It's been a long time, I feel like, since I've been to Goodwill lately. I'll probably start going again closer once like yard sale season is over. Next we have a vintage My Little Pony blue glittery wand. This was just like a little My Little Pony accessory. That sold for $14.99. That came in that My Little Pony stable I had purchased at a yard sale. I think I paid $10 for all of it, and I've just been parting out pieces. And I've already sold this specific wand before, so I knew like just the wand itself was worth $14. So, and I got like a whole bunch of other stuff. Next item was some Olympic Tools Turbo Pliers. Eric sold these for $39.99. He did get these at an auction, and $10 or less for those. Next item was a Fuji Cameras fanny pack. This came from an auction. I had won like a little tray of vintage camera, just accessories and stuff on. There was some film that was still sealed that I sold a while back. And this fanny pack was on there, so I listed it, and surprisingly it sold for $13.99. It was one of those things where I was like, should I list this or should I put it in like the flea market pile for a quarter? You know what I mean? I couldn't find any at the time, so I just decided to list it, and well, it did so. Okay, this is another Forever Crystal item, but this was a perfumed dusting powder. It came from the same estate sale. I paid $1 for that as well, and that sold for $29.99. Next item was for a Clinique lot of just little GWP items. Those sold for $19.99, and that came from a yard sale. I probably paid $1 or $2 for the whole lot. Oh, and I think that went to, I have subscriber Lori on that for the Clinique. So thank you, Lori. Next item also went to a subscriber. This went to Kimberly. This was a Santa Claus. It was marked BJ Wan, which I'm assuming is the person who like hand painted it and everything like that. This came from an auction. It was with some other like Christmas items that I had won. I really like the look of it. I love stuff like this, and that sold for $19.99. And then this is going to be the last thing for this cha-ching. This was a vintage cocktail shaker with palm fronds all around it. That's over $29.99, and that also came from an auction. I had won like a bunch of, at this specific auction, there was a lot of just cocktail shakers and stuff like that, and I still have some more to list. Off the top of my head, I'd say I spent $5 on that one, but it could have been less. So that's everything that I'm going to be doing for this cha-ching. I don't really have much to talk about as far as eBay goes. I feel like, so this was the weekend of the 4th of July. I haven't gotten a whole lot listed. I feel like I've been slacking slightly on listing. I just haven't really felt up to listing. July 3rd was my mom's seven years since she passed away, and you know, once that day comes, I'm kind of just like, you know, not really feeling to do anything. Like, I still can't believe it's been 7 years. It doesn't seem like 7 years. So I haven't really been feeling like listing, which isn't helping sales, you know what I mean? Like, I should be listing at least something every single day. So today I'm trying to buckle down a little bit and trying to get back into like the groove of things. So I haven't been listing a lot, so that hasn't been helping. I haven't had any sales yet today. I mean, it's still early, but typically when I wake up in the morning, I have at least a few sales. But I feel like overall, in like the grand scheme of it being a holiday weekend, I had a great weekend for sales. Like, there were a lot. Yesterday, Eric went to the post office, and he had to make 2 trips into the post office because there was so much stuff. So still a really good weekend for sales, but you know, as of today, since I didn't list anything for, you know, a couple of days, I feel like it's starting to, you know, slow down a little bit. So that's my own fault, but, you know, sometimes I just need to take a little bit of a break. I hadn't posted any videos really in, you know, those couple of days either. So yeah, I'm a little bit behind again, which, you know, it's always fun digging yourself out of the hole that you build around yourself, but that's what we gotta do. But yeah, as far as anything else, I haven't really been, you know, having any problems. I know, like, one of my other cha-chings, I was saying, like, I was having problems where when I would send out an offer and then the person wouldn't pay, so I kind of stopped sending offers out, and I still have yet to send an offer. I think Eric sent a couple, and thankfully they did pay, but like ever since then I just stopped sending offers. I've still been getting sales, so I need to start back in on sending offers and just crossing my fingers that, you know, that was just a fluky thing, and you know, I'm not gonna run into more non-paying bidders by sending out offers, but I'm sure I will because it just happens. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for this cha-ching. You guys have to let me know what you thought down in the comments and how things are going for you. So I will see you next time.